Hey guys, and welcome back to another video, and today we have the Super Barch for the Legend League. Yes, you heard that right. I tried that in the last event. There was a Super Troop event hosted by Supercell, and Bash streamed that as well. And the event was to showcase a couple of Super Troops. Most of the players over there kind of try harder and used maybe one or two Super Troops. And I tried to get up to the challenge and I tried Super Barch. And to be honest, I failed kind of bad. So I thought like, okay, you have to try this because I felt like during the wars, I felt it could work with some more practice. So what I did, I went into Legend League and tried the army. That's what I did. And let's figure out what exactly we were able to do and what did not went as planned maybe. So the army I showed you guys, we are using 20 super barbarians, which is like the capacity of overall 100 troop space, and then we're using 32 archers, which is obviously the troop space capacity of 32. So we're using the troop capacity of 132 Barch troops kinda. Since it's the super barbarians which you want to highlight, it's that which is like the main force over there. And then we have obviously a couple of Hawk Riders. You guys might wonder why exactly are you bringing Hawk Riders? The reason for that is I want to support the Royal Champion. On this attack, you guys know, well, the main power is not coming from the barbarians or the archers, right? Like that's kind of obvious. So we need to make sure that our main heroes are as powerful as possible. And for example, this is the Queen Charge. So attacking those bases, and I figured out at some point that it's actually pretty decent strategy in Legend League because in most of those bases you can Queen Charge kind of well. So if you guys are might wondering why exactly this wall break isn't working, I have no clue because normally when this rage is touching the wall like this, 9 out of 9, like 9 out of 10 times the wall is getting open with one wall breaker because it's raged. But apparently it wasn't. Apparently it wasn't, so we missed the time over here and the wall break. But we want to get back to the main topic which I just told you guys, and this is protecting the main force kind of in your army, which is the heroes. So this is why we're bringing the Hawk Riders, just to support the Royal Champion, because for example loons would be kind of useless for that. So this is kind of the main idea. On this one we have only one more wall breaker, which means we have to somehow support the wall breaker to make it through the wall, and then obviously just sending in the king with the ward and everything, making sure that on the right side everything is going smooth. We're using the the ward ability kind of early on just to make sure that like giant bombs, etc., are not killing all of our troops, and obviously the king is not dying like immediately by the single throne tower. Now the air defense is picking our healers, which isn't the best thing to happen, obviously, but we still have one more rage. And this is kind of the thing about those trophy bases. On most of those trophy bases, they have kind of long compartments. But because no one is using 4 rages for a queen charge, no one can abuse that. But since we're using queen charge Barch, we're actually countering the meta, right? Like we actually found a counter to most of those meta bases, and I think, to be honest, if someone is mastering this strategy, I think obviously you can tweak some more things. I feel like the archers are kind of useless, but I think out of this army you could actually make a proper Legend League push army, which is not like troll, like, yeah, I'm using Super Barch, and everyone's like, dude, you have no clue what you're doing. I think at some point this could be actually, if someone is developing this even more, this could be actually a valid strategy. On this one, everything is looking pretty good, right? Like we have the Hawk Riders supporting the Royal Champion, which means the Royal Champion is not taking too much damage. We have tons of spells actually left on this one, or like we had a lot of freezes for the back end, which we didn't even need in the beginning for the opening. So this is the first attack. We have 8 seconds left. We got the first triple, and it's working way better than I thought, to be honest. Like this was the second attack I tried. Like I didn't show you guys the first attack, which was more like on me not making a wall break. I don't know why, but right now I'm just horrible with wall breakers. So maybe I should more like do a super wall breaker video. But right now I'm kind of horrible with wall breakers, so that's like the main thing which the first attack failed. So let's take a look at the second attack. Like this was my my third attack overall, the second attack for this video. And bases like this are kind of tough to attack because there are so many ground expos, which is really hard to charge. Even though you have so many rages, it's getting a little bit tricky, but we still will try, right? So what we're trying to do is we try to charge as many buildings as possible. And one of those buildings which are super important are obviously the scatter shots and the eagle. Like those are two things which are super important. The town hall is kind of nice to have, but at the same time, it's like you have the Yeti blimp, right? Like you have the Yeti blimp, so it's not that bad if you can't make it to the town hall. So on this one, I tried to force my queen kind of into the wall, into the core, because I attacked already similar bases like this, and the main, like one thing which is kind of bad on those bases, if you do not interrupt the outer trash ring, your queen will always get lured on the outside of the base. Like she will never ever go to the core. Like with those two buildings, the one elixir collector and the archer tower, with those being alive, my queen would have stepped to the left and would have never ever went to the core to actually take out the defenses. So this is a key if you want to charge those bases, and if you don't know this thing, you have a horrible time against those bases. And like I said, there's so much freaking damage without us having like good access to the expos. So we have like nearly always two expos on us, which are out of the range of the queen. Like those two backhand expos are doing horrible work against us because we can never reach them. And this is kind of the bad thing about those bases for the queen chargers in general, and for queen charger Barch as well, obviously. So this is kind of annoying. We cannot invest another rage in our queen because since the Yeti nerf, we have to invest that into our Yeti blimp. Otherwise, we won't make it together with the town hall. And now you guys might think, okay, this is looking really bad. But just check out how strong actually the Barch backhand is. And this was kind of surprising to me. And I think if you would get rid of the archers and maybe use a couple of more Hawk Riders instead of the archers, or like even more barbarians, those things are actually crazy. Like they don't need any spells and still they are so strong and so tanky. So yeah, we're sending more and more Warbreakers, more and more Super Barbarians in for an ability to tank everything. And now the Royal Champion is coming in clutch to get into the core. We send in our Hawk Riders from the top. I'm not 100% sure if that was the best thing because now we have to use the freeze on the expos and the scatter shot to make sure that my Royal Champion is surviving. But this means all of the Hawk Riders are dead. And now we have our barbarians getting through the ring of this. But you can see the time is running down like non-stop. Royal Champion is now taking out even more stuff. And it's actually like, just thinking about that, we were at around 26% when we started the Barch. And we are right now at 80%. It's not looking like we will finish soon because those barbarians are so freaking tanky. It's insane. So without having lost our healers, so I think if I would have played this a little bit better and obviously would have had a little bit more like routine with this strategy, I think we could have actually tripled this base. But this is going to be a time fail or like a fail, I guess. But either way, this was kind of successful, to be honest. 89% on our third try, not too bad. So let's get it one more try and see if we can finish on a triple on this video, because I feel like I actually think this might be a valid strategy as soon as you have somewhere a queen charge, which has like non-stop value and your queen is not hitting non-stop walls. So if you have a channel which is kind of long and most of the people think like no one will bring as many rages for the queen to support, those are the bases which you like. So this is actually one of those bases which might work as well. So we have two options. First off, obviously we can go into the town hall. The second one, we could go into the eagle. So why do I go where I go? I decide I will go into the town hall. The reason for that is that I can, if I go into the eagle and I have the town hall back end, obviously I could go for the Yeti blimp. At the same time, normally those bases are kind of trapped around the town hall, so it's always risky to have the Yeti blimp over there, and you would need to put a lot of resources into that. So what I decide, okay, let's use the Queen Walk early into the town hall, and this means as well, if you have the town hall back end, most of the time you have like crossed the 50% mark, which means it's activated, so you will have a lot of damage on your troops, or otherwise you will need to kind of sacrifice your Yeti blimp kind of early on, which you normally don't want to do. You want to have it supporting your main squad, basically. So this is why you decide, okay, let's charge into the town hall and like not go for the eagle. What I try to do next is I basically try to charge the inner ring, and then I will send in my Barch troops around the outside, and then just have the Hawk Riders and the Royal Champion clearing the inner ring. So I have like Queen in the core, Barch troops are like my king and the my king and the warden on the outside, and then in between of those two groups, I have my Royal Champion with the Hawk Riders. That's kind of the idea on this base. And actually, whenever you have like one of those box bases in your Clan War League, and you do not know how to attack this, I'm not even trolling. Think about Queen Charge Barch. Like, I'm not trolling. It's actually pretty good counter to the space, or like to the space setup, especially if you turn on 13 and have the access to the Royal Champion. You can see over here now, I'm using the King and the Warden on the outside. And like I said, Queen is in the inner core as soon as she's going through the wall. And then we have the Royal Champion in between of those groups. And now we're using the Barbarians and Archers on the outside as well. We still have the Yeti blimp kinda. So what I do now, I will use the Yeti blimp, like the Yeti clan castle at the bottom. We're switching to the siege because this has like more value in that part. And well, now we're just like sending in the Hawkers from the top to have access into the single Fern Tower. More archers from the left side. We have so many spells left, right? Like we have 3 rages, tons of freezes. We are just making sure that our Royal Champion is surviving at this point. I think we could have swagged actually every single spell now. We're just speeding things up. Like, just to make sure I do not want to fail for this video another time, like in the second attack we just showed you. So we're just dropping all of the spells. I think we actually could have swagged 2 rages and 3 freezes. Like I said, Queen Charge Barch is doing insanely well against those bases. And if you have them in your Camo League, I'm not even trolling, consider using them. It's crazy. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And one more thing which I would like to ask for you is, what army would you guys see next? And do you guys prefer like troll armies or more like serious armies? Because I feel like most of the serious armies are already out there, like guides, etc. I thought about doing like in the next video something like how many super wall breakers can I actually run in Legend League and still triple, like 20 wall breakers, I don't know, like super Queen Charge, whatever, or stuff like that. I think that would be kind of funny. So let me guys know what you guys would like to see. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's more like a trolly one, even though I truly think this army works if you can like develop a little bit better with the super barbarians and like having so many rages, because the super barbarians, and like they don't need any rages, like they don't need any support. They have so many spells for the Queen Charge. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys back tomorrow for another video. Until then, see you guys and bye bye.